What's going on, guys? Today I want to take things a little bit slow and talk to you guys about the state of Dragon Ball FighterZ. It has been 1 week now. We've survived it, that the game has been released, and we've been having an absolute blast. At least I have been so far. And I want to talk about kind of what my feelings are so far and whether or not kind of what I like to call the honeymoon phase of the game is over. You know, I did a review with the Happy Console Gamer, if any of you guys watch his channel, and we reviewed the game and we kind of let out our thoughts and we kind of fanboyed about Dragon Ball a little bit, especially growing up with Dragon Ball. You know, for me it was a really important part of my childhood, and obviously I fell off with the series a little bit more, and then Dragon Ball FighterZ has really helped me kind of come back and to love the series once again. Especially, you know, Super has been actually pretty solid. Now, in that review, I gave the game a 9.5 out of 10. Now, I know that sounds really crazy. You guys are like, damn, Behrudy, that is a damn high score to give a fighting game, but I really feel strong and I still agree with that review, to be honest with you. I still stand by that score that I gave it. I feel like, in terms of fighting games, this game has really promised almost everything that it was set to do, right? It has a great story mode, amazing, you know, multiplayer, fun gameplay, so true to the original material. And it breaks my heart because, you know, there's been so many games, especially in the last like 2 or 3 years, I feel like, that have really let me down, you know, like especially a lot of the ones from Capcom, you know, like Street Fighter V was fun for the first while. It started to get a little bit stale later on, but it's still, you know, it's still a good and solid game. Just nothing that I'm as passionate about as much as I was with 4, and I think Arcade Edition was such a good direction for the series to go. And Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, I think, was the bigger kind of disappointment for me, and that game sucked the most because it was so fun. The gameplay was, I would even say, like, amazing. It was just such a fun game to play, so easy to pick up. But it was so bare bones, you know, you can go through that menu and you'd be like, oh my god, there's like nothing here. There's literally like a half-ass story mode, some trials, and like the arcade mode's not even arcade mode. There's not even cutscenes after you finish. Not even like little comic strips, actually. I don't even need cutscenes. I just need a little comic strip telling me what happened to that Marvel character, what happened to that Capcom character. And going back to our main point with Dragon Ball FighterZ, this game I would recommend to almost anyone, you know, especially if you liked Dragon Ball growing up, and if you've never played even a fighting game before, never even got in depth with them. It's just, the accessibility is so great, and even for the story mode alone, that can, you know, take up to 10 to 12 hours to finish, depending on how much you really take your time. For that alone, it could be worth it, and the arcade modes are pretty great. And the thing I want to talk about most is, again, the gameplay. Now that I'm starting to understand it more and to really kind of get a grasp of what the game plays like, it really is magical. It's really, really legit. I know that there's a lot of people right now who are quite questioning the game still. We're still kind of in that gray area. I mean, the game is selling crazy. I'm talking more about like the core fighting game community people. There's a lot of people thinking that the game is only living because of its legacy, because Dragon Ball, the name and the IP is so big. And, you know, there is some truth to that, of course. Like, the game definitely would not have sold as much as it did if it was any other brand slapped onto the same game mechanics. But you really have to respect, you know, Arc System Works for just the game engine, you know, and even with quite a small roster for a 3v3 game, as far as 3v3 games go, this is a pretty small roster. They just fucking nailed it, man. They just did such a great job. And right now, you know, being 1 week into the game's release, I'm really curious to see where it goes now. You know, we're talking about like just the tech and the things that people are figuring out, and people aren't even sure who are the best characters are right now. There's a lot of characters that really stand out because they're really simple to use. Hell, I think right now I play Hit, Cell, and Vegeta, and I really think that Hit and Cell, both of those characters are, personally, I think they're one of the best in the game, but that's how I feel for now. We're gonna see what some other characters are going to be like when more things are figured out. But I'm curious to see where this game kind of ends up in the competitive sphere. But that's not even that important to be honest. Like, it just, the fact that this game has caught so many hearts of gamers who are not fans of fighting games has really I almost want to say it reignited my love for fighting games a lot. And I can't lie to you guys, like I think 2 or 3 years ago, I was starting to feel like, man, maybe I'm just starting to lose my drive and my spirit for fighting games. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I think it was just there just hasn't been too many fighting games, or the right type of fighting games, that have really reignited my spark. And it was partly my fault. Like, I should have really went out and played Guilty Gear, because I've always been a Guilty Gear fan, and I've never really got into Revelator when I totally should have. I was just so busy at that point in my life. But there have been a lot of disappointments in the fighting game space, and I'm just so happy there is something out there right now that is just, you know, reaching to a mass audience, and most importantly is really fun. You guys could see a lot of my reactions during the road to King Kai. Like, I'm actually having such a blast playing the game, and it's so genuine. Like every time I start recording an episode, I have the time of my life. It's just so, it's great. It's great. I don't know, I'm really fanboying here, and you know, the game, at the end of the day, it's a versus game. It's cheap as hell. You know, the more people figure out, the harder it's gonna be to play. But that's just the reality of a lot of fighting games. And don't let that discourage you guys. Just kind of learn along at your own pace and just have fun. You know, take a break if you're losing. But I'm, like I said before, having the time of my life. Now, I'm hoping that, you know, the Bandai Namco doesn't really milk us too much with the DLC. It looks like there's already a lot of characters that are being data mined. We'll talk about those maybe later on my channel. Overall, you guys need to just let me know how you guys feel about the game. But this is the 1 week in, kind of the post-mortem right here. Already such a strong start to 2018 with, you know, one of the best fighting games we've got in a long time. But guys, I will see you probably this weekend, tomorrow or after tomorrow, with more quick tips, probably another episode of Road to King Kai. And then on Monday, we have Monday Night Fights after like 6 years of not doing that show. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting at the very least. So I love you all very much. If you can give this video a like, it helps me out a lot. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully, with some new content.